let's get started. As a starter, I would like to thank everyone who has joined us for the fourth edition of free training for IT business analysts and product owners. All right, so which we're bringing to you every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And my name is Nadir from Cognitive Links. I'm going to be a host for today. And if you have any questions throughout the session, please feel free to ask your questions in the chat box. If you're having some technical difficulty as well, please feel free to let us know in the chat box. And if you would like to ask questions as well, you can just raise your hand so that I can enable your audio, or you can just ask through the chat box. And okay, also, so for today's topic, we'll be talking about feature prioritization mastery for product owners. And our trainer is I would like to introduce our trainer as well, Makran Patak, who has 20 plus years experience, who started his career as a technical analyst. And I'm sure you guys are very familiar with technical analysts. Like, that's where everyone starts in BA and then work their way up. So Makran has started from the scratch, and throughout his career, he's worked with one of the most well-known organizations, both from the consultancy side and also the buyer side, like the big banks, like Bank of Singapore, Standard Chartered, BNP Paribas, Credit Suisse, and etc. Right. So Makran, not just a trainer, just collaborating with us, he's a good friend as well. And the whole reason why we have kickstarted this like a free training session for VA and product owners is because after working so many years in the corporate world, Makran just a year ago was telling us like, he kind of feels that it's time for him to start giving back to the community, which actually in the first place kind of let him into this industry, and which he has learned and gained greatly from being in the industry. And he started feeling like it's time for him to start giving back. And then from there, we thought of, hey, why not we come up with training courses and also like a free sessions for ITBA community, so that this is the way that we give back for the improvement of the community, and we build a community around the topic. And with that, as they say, journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, right? So without further ado, I would like to introduce Makran. Makran, please take it away from here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nadir, for a brief, introduction. And good morning, everyone, and welcome to the fourth session of the ITB and product owner community, which we are building in Malaysia. And I'm quite excited to be here, honestly, and quite privileged and to be with you. So, as part of the session today, we're going to cover the prioritization. One of the technique we're going to deep dive today, and of course it's a 1 hour session only. But as happen every session, we are happy to have a lot of questions and your doubts. So every time you ask the question, and last three sessions there was very good uh, um, response from everyone, and we really would like to thank to everyone for such a great response. So as the Nadir mentioned, I used to work for a lot of big corporations, and I'm very happy to share what I learned in those organizations. And so recently we have collaborated with the Cognitive Links, and we're doing a particular trainings which are especially focusing on the a non-technical area, right? So we are very clear about that. And the business analysts and the product owners are the key in any software development. So that is the reason and of course I came from that background, so we have picked up these topics. So last time we had a very good topic on a business analysts, how to they can use the generative AI for their daily work, including some sample real-time examples. So it's not just use Gen AI for the fun, but for the work. So today we're going to cover the features prioritization mastery for product owner. So basically the explore the various feature prioritization techniques and frameworks and learn how to identify the key stakeholders basically and their prioritize. So we will basically go into the various methods, but we'll take one into the and then we'll do deep dive that particular area. So without further delay, let's dive into the topic today. Um, this is my profile. Anybody would like to connect with you, they can connect me on the LinkedIn. I have a QR code also here. I think this is pretty standard slide every time now. So let's get into the feature prioritization. So the feature prioritization, the first thing is that why it is needed, and we'll of course deep into the dive. So what is feature, right? After this, so basically the feature is the top is the top item in your product backlog, right? And we need to do the feature prioritization because we can decide what to build first, what is adding most value to our client or our business, right? If you're building the internal product, and this will also help us to avoid a lot of scope creep, basically adding the more scope to the product, and then it will never ending project, never ending product development. So um, if we strategically prioritize our features, I think the building the roadmap is just a piece of cake. So as a product owner, you always being challenged that, or maybe given a challenging task that, okay, can you build a roadmap for the particular product? And then we start running here and there, what to add, what not to add, and here and there. So I think the, the, the designing the features and then prioritization will be the first key, and everybody will look at the product owner for that. So it is very important. But we also need to understand one thing, that the prioritization is not a standalone activity. It is not only the activity that you do it, okay, Prash. It is always intertwined with your strategy. Now, what do you mean by strategy? Strategy is basically you are building something or you're developing something, and that building and developing is uh, you know um, uh, uh, has some expected outcome in the future. Then you define a strategy. Suppose you're building a mobile app, then you know who's your target segment, what where you want to go in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, for example. That's why the generally product owner prepared the roadmap. But they can do it when the strategy is available. When the strategy is available, the prioritization will become very easy. So that is very important factor to understand. Now, if you look at the in the agile Scrum development, in agile methodology, the Scrum development of agile methodology, the this is called as product backlog hierarchy, right? So product backlog is everybody creating the backlog items, the requirements keep one of the question being asked by one of the attendee last week about the product backlog hierarchy. And she want to create a product backlog for a new project. So what are the methods to follow for that, and this and that. So this is something we also covered. So this diagram shows you the entire flow for a product backlog hierarchy. If you look at on the top, you have strategy and roadmap. Okay, and there we have a feature. This is what we're going to cover today. And the feature will have epic, user story, and each user story have tasks and acceptance criteria and so on. So I think this is not new. If you're a product owner, of course, if you're a BA or want to become product owner, this is something you need to go through as part of the Scrum training and all, where they will teach you that how to define the feature, epic, user stories, and task and everything. So in the product backlog hierarchy, feature is sitting on the top. Okay, and earlier I mentioned in the slide, the feature is go hand in hand with your strategy. So generally, when you build a product, you'll have a strategy. Why you're building it? Okay, might not be the strategy might not be defined it formally as a part of, okay, this is a strategy document, but generally you are aware as a product owner that why we are building or what we are building and what benefit we expect out of what software or product we are building. Okay, so the feature is a high level business strategy and objective. So we will also show example today, don't worry. Okay, in last session we had a session examples of feature, epics, real story, everything. I hope it is clear to everyone. Then we move to the prioritizing why it is needed. I think this is very important question, and based on my experience, we take it very lightly when the prioritization happens. I was a product owner for many years, and in my initial days, I used to think, oh, we know the team knows what to do and all. We have very clear vision and strategy. But when you deep dive, and that's why people call the devil is in detail, right? And when I say detail, it means you need to go to the each use feature and understand how it is aligning that feature with your strategy, right? And that can happen only when you do the brainstorming and understand why the prioritization is needed, right? Of course, the first topic is alignment with business goals, right? When we do the prioritization, the main objective is that we need to align with the business goal. What business want to achieve? Business is the one who's paying for the party, is paying for the team, is paying for the development of a software or a product to make their life easy. So we need to align our prioritization with their business goal. If business wants a feature which is very important, urgent, and adding a lot of business value, and we say no, 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 we don't think so. This is important. So it's up to the business to decide and how that align with the business goals. Now, um, in most of the time, what happen is that most of the time, and if somebody working on the non-banking could be lucky, that they will directly able to talk to the business users, end users who actually using the product. But especially if those who are working in the banks or maybe financial services or financial institutions, they will have another change manager in between, or maybe you are a change manager and you need to talk to somebody from business, who's representative of business, and they might not align with the strategy sometimes. So there'll be a lot of friction happen. And so to do that, you always refer back. If somebody asks, I want this, I want that. Okay, what is the strategy? Where you want to go as a business? As we, not as you, as we. So that is the question you should ask there and align that with business goals. So prioritization will help. We'll do the alignment with the business goals. Prioritization also drive the stakeholder alignment. This is very important because what happens is that uh, though business goals are okay, but the stakeholders sometimes not happy with because you're not accepted their requirement as a priority, and their alignment is quite important. We had total whole session on that, how to do the stakeholder alignment and communication collaboration as part of the trainings, but I'm just giving you the pinch of information on that. So that alignment is quite important when you do the prioritization. So then everybody's happy, right? And then the focus and efficiency. So when you have a very clear prioritization, okay, you want to do this topic one, the requirement you want to deliver first in first quarter. So there is a focus from you, from business, from everyone. And of course, we'll add efficiency because everybody focusing on doing one task or one particular item and giving all their energy, their heart and soul to the particular item to deliver in the quarter one. The team morale and productivity. This is quite important. If you are a product owner and if you're transparent with the team, why we're building, this is the priority. We discuss with business and businesses agree, and they will be very happy that they are got a very clear focus item to work on for next quarter. So their discussion, their brainstorming, their ideas, everything will run around that particular prioritization for that quarter, and then everybody just work on that. And the time to reduce risk and time to faster time to market. So basically, if we do the prioritization and if we deliver something and define the objective and key results against those features in the quarter one, for example, so we will able to do the faster time to market, as well as we'll be able to reduce the risk. Why it reduce the risk? Because if you're not able to suppose if you're not able to get the results based on what OKRs we defined as part of this first quarter release, then we can reprioritize the items and work towards what are the goals and strategies, or maybe OKRs are defined, objective and key results, which always align to strategy again. So as mentioned, right, the choices made in strategy define the priorities. So basically what you define in the strategy, that will define the priority. Okay, so of course, by making the informed strategy choices, the product team can align their prioritized efforts. So if you have the right strategy in place, or the making informed strategic choices, the product team can align their prioritization efforts accordingly. So if you say no, we don't want the login first, we want a marketing campaign to be built first, so we can communicate to business first, and then they can always come to our branch to open an account, for example. um, this area or this particular part, then if it is aligning with the strategy to get a build business first rather than build a system first, then you need to, as a team, we can work towards, as a development team or product team, we can work towards that. Okay, so that is why the importance of the prioritization. We go to the next. There are a couple of techniques are there in the feature prioritization. Okay, and there are actually several lot of techniques are there, but these are four are very famous, which we used a lot of time. But in that, the RIC, which is rice scoring, is quite popular, and we use that a lot. A lot of company using Moscow. Is MOSCOW. It's not Moscow. That Moscow. It is must have, should have, could have, and would have, and won't have. So we'll go into detail later. And the value versus effort matrix and Kano model. So Kano is nobody using it now, but some companies still using it. So we'll go into the technique. So which technique you want to follow? Why we need to follow the technique? Right? We just discussed, right? Why we need to have techniques? Why we need to have prioritization? So these techniques will help us to justify why the certain requirements has been prioritized over other requirements, right? And that is something quite interesting, because when you're working with the large corporations, you have a lot of, I would say, a lot of um, firefighting, that people ask for their own requirements. Different departments are involved in the project, front office operations, for example, or maybe marketing and sales. And for each of them, their requirement is a priority one. Their requirement is actually aligned with the business strategies and goals. So how do we still prioritize that? And that prioritization can happen with some techniques, and that technique still needs some data and some facts or some assumptions in order to back the prioritization method. Otherwise, people will be unhappy, and then they'll start complaining about you as a product owner. Oh, Coder is not listening to us. He's not taking requirement from us. So all this we can avoid if you have the proper prioritization technique in place. Okay, and the uh, so there could be some method unconventional people might be using in your company. Might not be giving the name to that technique, but when you look at the technique, you would be able to understand how this technique is, what is this technique and how it is being used. Okay, so we'll go to the Moscow method first. Rice will use at the end, and then we'll give the example of the rice scoring as well. So Moscow is very famous. They use in project management, business analysis, and software development. Everywhere they use this method. So it is the it will help us to come to a common understanding the importance and requirement of feature. So when people say my requirement is important, you need to put that into framework and compare against other requirements. And that is why you need some technique or some method or something to compare which is the have more weightage. And how do you compare weightage? Is it based on how big the description is written? No, right? Or is it very nicely documented? No. Or the person who's giving requirement more influence? No, right? And this is generally happen. And then sometimes they want to use their influence to put their requirement as a priority as part of the product delivery or project management or product or project delivery, right? So this Moscow stands for must have, should have, could have, and won't have. So it's very famous, but not now. Nowadays, the rice is people using. Will go into detail, but in my like 3 years back until last 15, 18 years, this was very famous. Even you are writing a requirement and everything, they are asking this method to follow. So must have is basically absolutely essential requirement to that project or product. Without that, it cannot be success, right? They're like core functionalities or features that define the project purpose. So I'll give a simple example. If you're building a web-based application, right? So what could be the must-have requirement, but obvious login page, right? Now, uh, the without login page, of course, you cannot log in unless you say my website is open website and anybody just click the link and access it. But if you're building something for the organization to track something, you need to have login feature, and that's a must-have feature. Second is the should-have feature, right? So these are like important feature that greatly enhance the project value and UI UX of the user experience, and but they are not mandatory. But their absence would significantly impact the project success. So basically, you can give an example of should have is when the user logged in, you allow user to do a lot of modifications in their profile. I think that is should have, because the more details user fill up in the profile, um, uh, the more customer or client data you're able to get it as part of the uh, uh, onboarding of the customer. And then once you get the data, you'll under the insight of how this customer behavior and everything, and then can do the some product reselling and or maybe upscale or cross sell of the products. So that's a should have. Could have is basically describe the feature that would add a further benefit to improve the project, but they are not critical and not core functionalities. Like you know if I think of uploading a profile picture, maybe not, and we are talking about non social media platform, for example. Okay, this example is non social media platform. If it is social media platform, the must have is the photo. So could have is like it's a bank website, and generally we don't upload the photos in the bank. Come on, everybody knows that, right? Though there is a feature, by the way, I'm not sure whether you are aware. In bank application, there is a feature to upload your photo, and it's a could have, so it will not impact your project. And the last one is the won't have, right? So this feature considered as the nice to have, and outside of scope of the current project and limitation, budget, time, and availability of the resources and everything, and they can be prioritized for the future version of the iteration. So basically, if somebody is posting the requirement, you can use this lens. Is it must have? Is it should have? Is it could have? And um, you just need to endorse from the requirement provider, uh, and you yourself can identify that based on the strategy of the company. But of course, as part of the endorsement requirement endorsement or validation, you need to verify these requirements and put them into separate buckets. And so then you can, when you prioritize, you can say one of the require why it is not being prioritized. You can say it's won't have, or we can do it in next phase, not in this phase. This phase, these are the four features are quite important, and we need to deliver that in first quarter for this year, for example. So that is something, a Moscow method. A second is the Kano method. Kano method actually, it is not that not that popular. Basically, the Kano method basically, it basically help to prioritize the feature based on how they impact the customer satisfaction. So they focus on customer satisfaction first. So if you build something, how the customer will be happy. Of course, we can always have a debate that everything is about the customer satisfaction. But in the Kano method, um, they more focus on the customer satisfaction, regardless of the timeline and effort is required to build the products, right? So the customer satisfaction basically, around how the features influence the customer satisfaction. Some features are essential to basic satisfaction, while other can delight the customer, right? So basically, that they divide into three categories. One is the basic need, right? Basic needs means, for example, power button on a phone, for example. These are features the customer expect and that are dissatisfied if missing. Now, this can be a old example because there's no power button on the phone, and people don't like it. Everything is soft. But still, if you look at the iPhone or an Android phone, you need to sometimes force restart. And if you don't have button, how are you going to do it? And if somebody say, oh, in order to restart, you need to attach to computer only, you'll say, this is crazy. I don't like it, right? So the button is still needed, right? Maybe you can still do it the soft restart, but hard button is required. performance needs. So these features are lead to increasing the satisfaction, the performance improves. So battery life, I think this is really, really important. Everybody need a battery to be 10x, 20x, and should not able to charge even for 2-3 days, still needed. So they can prioritize the performance needs on priority of excitement needed. This feature delivered to customer to create positive surprise, like wireless charging on the phone. I think this is also getting very popular, and by default these are getting into the phones now. But Kano method is more on the around the customer satisfaction area, regardless of the timeline and effort required to build the product. Uh, uh, that contradict because sometimes we need to build a product which is an MVP and might not give the instant gratification or happiness to the customer, but at least we're building something. First page of the website, then your second page, then your third page, and on, and that is the way you gauge the customer satisfaction and engagement. But Kano method is something focusing on the customer satisfaction. Then we have value versus effort matrix, right? So value versus effort matrix was very, very debatable topic because they majority focus on the high value and low effort item. So they want to only focus on value, right? Even though it has to be low effort and a high value. So it means they don't want to spend much, but they want quick, they want fast. That's why they, and most of the companies want to do this. Okay, low effort, deliver high value, low effort, deliver high value. But we need to also understand, right? There will be a lot of dependencies with there as part of the feature development or product development, and sometimes we need to uh, uh, work on item which can add a low value but high effort. The last one, for example, imagine you are building a product, and the sprint 0 or sprint 1, you are focusing more on building the infrastructure, which is a low value to customer, to the business directly, but it has a high value later to the project, but immediately no. So, and it can be time consuming because you need to talk to infrastructure team and this and that. So uh, those are the things they generally say we avoid that. So from the customer or client or maybe user point of view, they say don't use that. So this is something quite widely used long time back, not nowadays now, because everybody are asking about what you're delivering, is it aligned with the strategy? And if you are building a infrastructure as part of the strategy, I think there's no question being asked, and automatically that feature will be prioritized on the top of the list. They also do the high value and high effort. So these tasks are high potential rewards but require a significant investment. Carefully evaluate the potential return before committing resources. So basically, uh, high value with high effort. So you need to put a lot of effort, or maybe you need to bring another 2 or 3 teams together to deliver something. But of course, there is always a risk when you do the high bets. The third one is a low value, low effort. So this will require a minimum effort, but offer minimal benefit, not much to the business. And this one we always need to see whether we can delegate. The third one and fourth one, they want to push back to the later phase. Um, but ultimately, sometimes the effort might be delivery effort might be look big, and if the value might be looked less to from the client point of view, but sometime it's like a invisible work which help the whole team and hold the project once you build the infrastructure, for example. So that's a quite good example where business do not appreciate that, and there is a reason for that, because they say we don't want to we don't want to know the technical stuff, we just need a delivery. I think this is quite a common sentence from the business. uh, the rice, I think, quite important, very famous, and a lot of people using it in the various companies. I think there is a typo, rice. Okay, the rice stand for the rich impact, confidence, and effort. The framework is used in product management and other field to team to price tasks, features, and everything, and the same thing. And there is a good formula is there, which we are going to deep dive now. So rich refers to the estimated number of the people will affect positively the project or the feature or the your software. The higher the rich, the more potential impact it has. and of course everybody want that, right? Every maximum people should use my product. Impact, it considers the magnitude of the positive changes in the project when somebody using your product, how much value it is adding to their life or to their daily work, right? How much efficiency we're going to improve, and or maybe how much additional revenue we can get it out of this particular, if we have more impact. Confidence, I think this is this reflects the level of the certainty you have with the expected impact. So you have the uh, uh, you should have user data and your to research to support assumptions. A higher confidence score indicates the more reliable prediction of success. So we'll go into the example, you'll understand. So confidence means, for example, the confidence from the team to build it. Okay, higher the confidence, lower the risk. Lower the confidence, higher the risk, right? So effort, this refers to the time, how much time is required. Sometime you do the story point estimation or man days effort or so on and so on to develop the particular feature. So we can actually deep dive into one of the example of rice. So basically we also just define in different way here. um, so in the reach, we say that how many people, maximum people per quarter, per month. You can define the way you want it. Okay, so we have referred from this roadmonk site. So uh, they have mentioned very good things about rice. The impact, so impact you can mention 1 to 5. Confidence you can mention 100%, 80%. So how confident the impact to reach the score, the scores, how much data you need to back this estimate. So you need some data to back the estimate. I'll give you example. Effort, how much time, this is I think the estimation from the team. Design, development, UI, UX, API development, everything. Okay. um, so features prioritization using rise. So we take one example now, right? So too much theory is not good. You need to really take one example and work on that and see whether it is really working or not, how it works actually, right? So those who joined the earlier sessions, you know that we want to build an electronic document management system for a large corporation, to achieve the internal as well as the client documents. Okay, classify them, search them based on the type of document, and search them with the keywords and other metadata of the document. Could be document date, creation, or uploaded by user, or could be any metadata. Okay, so we'll not go into the detail. So imagine we take an imaginary some features. Okay, our first feature is document upload for operations team. Okay, so there's an operation team and we need to build a feature to so they can log into some of the system and upload the document which they are getting in their email, and stacking that information correctly into the one of our document management system, right? The second is the document upload from the front office team. So there is a sales team, and they are also getting some documents, and they are also need a system to upload the documents. um, the third one is the document upload for a legal and compliance team. So there is a team who's helping us, admin team, legal team, and it's quite important for the large corporations. So they also need a system to keep their documentation, and the document for customers. So end customers, your users, could be your contractors or anybody else who is not part of organization, also can retrieve or maybe upload the document. Okay, maybe upload we might not give, but we can also, if they're accessing from the web, or maybe directly if they're given access to web, they may also upload the document. No, nothing wrong in that. For example, now some banks, I want to change my address, so I directly upload my electricity bill, and basically I don't want to go to the branch and waste my time. So yes, customer can upload the documents. So these are the and these are the features. Now how do we prioritize them, right? Which one we should implement first, right? um, so before we go into the rice method or rice techniques, how its calculation can happen, we need to consider some of the factors or assumptions in order to back our estimation process, the prioritization process. The total team member for every department. So we are talking about operations, front office, legal and compliance, and customers. So maybe operations are 40 people, uh, sales maybe 20 people, legal compliance maybe 5 people, and maybe your 200 customers, for example. So that you can number out that. Then we talk about how many existing documents are there. Because when you build a system, you need to migrate the existing documents also if there are any, right? Or you'll say, no, there are no existing document. We're starting from scratch, greenfield, no problem, fine. But most of the cases, they are already have the documents stored in the shared drive, or maybe SharePoint. It could be anywhere else, and then maybe you need to upload those documents also as part of the initial launch, and that will trigger the existing documents for each one, each department. The number of new documents per month. So you can say, okay, this is like, you tell me how many document to expect per month, 100, 10, or 10,000, 1 million. So that is the questions to the business. Um, and if they are doing it, saving it manually, how much effort is required? But we need to also consider the audit and compliance part. So we cannot say that, oh, they are nowadays very easy. It's the document, they come in the email, they just save as in folder, and our job is done. But that could lead to the audit and compliance, and if the cyber attack happened, we may lose the documents, the confidential documents. So we need to also see that. And of course, when you save as, instead of saving on Makaran's name, if you're saving on maybe John Lee's name, could be a manual error, and that we can avoid. So we need to consider so many other factors, and customer experience is one of the factors. If you are giving them the option to upload the document from by themselves, right? So could be so these are the things we need to consider when we go into the RICE method. So this is the RICE method. Okay, don't get confused. It's very easy. I'll explain you one by one. This is a formula. Formula is rich into impact into confidence divided by effort. Okay, so how do we do it? Right. So you can define your own parameter first, but this is powerful method, and the number what is presented here will come if you back the more data for each team. The more data you inject, the better the prioritization and the score will come, which you can defend and say, oh, this requirement or feature we should build first, or we should not build first. All right. So take an example of the document upload for operations team, right? So the higher the score, the higher the weightage. Okay. So um, this is the final table. So when we go for a document upload operations team, we say how many operations team members we are actually targeting. And in our case, maybe zero. This is in the percentage. Okay, 0 to 100. So we say 80. And when we say impact means, when we say impact, we talk about uh, um, the business real impact. Now, operations team generally in all the organizations consider as admin work and the back office team, and the impact is not high to business compared to uh, compared to front office and customers, sales and customers. So this is a sad part, but it is truth. If you have admin team, so would you give the more privilege and advantage to your sales team or to your admin team? Of course, to sales team, right? So this is what it happens. How much is the confidence we have? Higher the confidence, the the lower the effort. Why we say confidence 90%? Because we know that operations team, when you upload the documents, for example, you no need to build any authorization mechanism. Means once you upload the document, everybody from operation team can access the document. You cannot say that, okay, the team A cannot access this document, team B. Generally, it doesn't happen. Some organization may happen. Internally, operation team might have teams, sub teams, but in most of the cases, the documents are open to everybody in the operation team because they need to back up the people when they're on leave and this and that. So generally, they are open. So the confidence is high, and effort we are giving a 1 to 5 is like small, medium, large, and also 4 we given, for example, effort. So when you do the calculation, it comes the score around 36. So this reach is different for front office team, different for customers. We have less customers, more sales team. Uh, um, this is weird actually for this company that they have less customers. Customer reach is less. The reach is less because we don't want customer. We're not going to upload hundreds of document every day, right? Maybe 1 document per month or 2 document per month. But front office might upload our documents like sales brochures and customer documents, and sometimes customers are so lazy they just send forward information to the front office team, sales team, hey, can you upload for me, and so on. So if you look at for the front office team, the impact is high. If you look at for customers, the impact is high. So when we say high impact, it means the positive impact for them is very high because the usage. But if you look at the confidence is bit low. Why? Because when you're building a document management system for front office or sales team, for example, there is always a competition between sales team. They don't one sales team don't want to share the data with other sales teams, so you have to create a very strong a segregation between who can access what document, and same happen to customer. I should be able to access only my own documents, right? And that is why the confidence level is low because the impact is high. The lower the confidence will have higher the effort because you don't know how to build it, so you'll give more. You means team, basically your team, right? And those efforts will be higher. And that is why this calculation, if you look at the operation team is winning here because the confidence is high, and of course the reach and everything, when you calculate, it is adding the score and then they're winning it. And then we say, okay, we'll implement the operations team first because there is a low hanging fruit, for example. So this is a right way to build, do the prioritization using the RICE. Okay. So if anybody have any question, I'll give a pause here for a minute. Okay. Then we move to the other topic. But this is something, if you use it as a product owner, um, you will get away of all the politics in the company. Why this requirement is being prioritized? You can say this is the method we applied, this is the technique we applied based on the data which is given. Okay, and then we have put the numbers. Yeah, number you can change it, but the number has to back by the data. All right. So when your data, at least a hypothetical data is still fine, but at least you can say this is the technique we want to use it. Okay. You can also ask question in the chat later. We can pick it up, no problem. Okay. Now you have method and everything, but the challenging part is how to identify the key stakeholders and their priorities. I think this is the key before you want to do prioritization. Right? We know the technique, everything. Yes, everything is ready. We are ready to do the prioritization, but we need to identify key stakeholders, right? And how to identify, especially when you're working for the large organizations, it is very challenging. So there are many other things are there, but the top are very key. The first one is stakeholder mapping. Uh, the communication collaboration with them, with the stakeholders, and this is pretty important. Their needs, what they exactly looking for, and they're prioritizing their needs, right? So how do you prioritize their need? So pretty easy. So basically, when you do the stakeholder mapping, basically what we generally do, uh, first we do the we define the working group, right? And we do brainstorming of the stakeholder about the product and what we are thinking about the the our strategy and vision. We do the brainstorm there, and then you understand the who is representing which department and influencing which department. I think this is quite important. So once you get that, then you define their relationship. So this is quite important to avoid any political problems in the project and company and product development, that you understand each relationship of the stakeholders with whom which each other, right? Is there any conflict between the teams? Operations team is selling, the sales team is selling us a lot of shit and we don't like it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so we understand the potential conflict, and that will help us to do the proper mapping also. The sorry the second part is understand stakeholder needs. So basically, how do you understand the simple gather input, do the survey, interviews, working groups, reach out to individual people, individual separate teams, reach out everybody together, reach out everybody separately also. So quite a lot of work as a PO to understand their real need and understand the inputs, and then you prioritize their list. So before you even going, you first prioritize within their team. As the operation team, what are your priorities? What is the front office team? What are your priorities? And then you later apply that into our RICE RICE method and then it will be much easier life for you. Um, the next one is the prioritize stakeholder needs. So basically, how do you prioritize? So basically, clearly communicate with them, okay, and including the sponsors, team members, and that priority is important, right? When you communicate their priorities, say, this is a priority we understand from your team, and that communicate very clearly, right, and update them regularly that they got this requirement from this team or that team, or that requirement has been changed because there's a change in strategy, could be anything, but updating them and review them regularly is very important. So 3 weeks back, you got a requirement, you put into that product backlog. Maybe you need to review it after 2 weeks, maybe, and say, guys, these are the requirements. Is there any changes you want or something else you would like to add it? So the once the update the prioritization of the stakeholder needs regularly, basically throughout the project life cycle. So generally, not just for one sprint, but when you do the sprint planning, you can, of course, you communicate back, but for the for the upcoming sprint, you can actually keep updating them about the prioritization. Sometime the other team is not happy why my item is not being prioritized, but if you keep having communication, you can set the expectation easily, and that is what you have to do as a product owner. Trust me, it's a tough job, but yeah, that is what you are a product owner. Communication, collaboration, I think this is self-explanatory. We need to be very, very vocal about what we are doing, how we are doing, and who's getting benefited, and which item is not adding value, and why we're pushing back the items. So it will be little software. We say, don't we push back? We put in the next sprints or maybe subsequent sprint. And because of this reason, 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe the impact is not high, maybe. And the collaborative approach, I think this is everybody knows that you need to be very, very collaborative with various team members as a product owner. Um, um, you can involve the key stakeholder in design process, maybe while they're building a product, maybe um, and get their feedback. But of course, as a product owner, you know how much we need to involve them and how much we need to keep them away. I think that is the trade-off you have to do. But uh, at least a genuine attempt on to become a collaborative with them is important to success to be a successful product owner and do the proper prioritization. So these are the a couple of items which you can actually do as to identify the stakeholders and actually set their priorities. Some key methods you can use. So I'll take a pause and we'll open for Q&A. Any questions or any topics you can ask. Um, Let me know if you're going a bit fast. Nadi, do you have any questions on the chat?
Okay, yeah, glad you asked. We have one questions so far. While I'm reading out this question and Makaran is answering, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box or request to unmute yourself and you can ask your questions. So this is Q&A time already. Yeah. So Darren asked a first question. Hi, for confidence in a RISE method, may I know if it's determined based on user adoptability rate?
So the question is that what confidence? Can you repeat the question?
Okay. For confidence in RISE method, may I
Okay.
know if it's determined based on user adoptability rate?
User adaptability rate it is not considered completely. Yeah, a little bit of part, but ultimately the confidence comes on the how clear the requirement is to the team, and that is where the confidence of building that feature will be defined. So if the adaptability is even low, for example, confidence can be still high, no problem, because adoption is not uh, a matrix here that whether how many people will adapt it or our software or product or services. No, that's not a measure here, but more on the effort, how much clarity we have about to build this, and of course that clarity will come from the understanding the complexity of a feature. Like an example, right? If you take an example of operations team, the confidence 90%. do anybody can guarantee that all people 80, take an example, 80 people going to access the document on day one, or maybe upload the documents on day one? May not be, but the team is well aware that the effort is low. Yeah, but the ultimately the, when we do the prioritization, adaptability part is not much. It's not considered much unless we see that the pain point is higher there, right? So in that case, if the pain point is higher on the operation team, we don't know yet, right? So maybe that need to back by the little bit of data. And if the operations is, yeah, the number of documents per month are like 400 plus, and everybody is uploading 10 documents per day manually saving, maybe yes, then the adoption is automatically will increase when you launch the product or feature. Okay, very good question, by the way. Any other question? No, dear.
No questions yet. It's either today participants are quite shy ones, or you have like really given them a really complete kind of presentation, so they got all their questions answered. Or they can prove me wrong.
No, you can ask the question. Do not be, don't hesitate much. Basically, prioritization is a quite important topic, especially even though you got estimation. I tell you one thing: you might get estimation easily, but getting the prioritization is the most difficult part. And if you apply the right method or strategy, uh, life can become easy, because you just need to add into the formula, use the formula in order to get the desired outcome, right? Or the outcome, and then you share the outcome with the people and say, this is formula we applied, right? Of course, you can always change the factors which are considering, but that factor people can challenge. Hey, no, there are no 1 million documents. There are only like 100,000 documents, or maybe 200,000 documents which are available. So why, from where the 1 million number comes? So when they ask for the data, you need to also say which source of what is the data, what is the source for the data. We can, it's not just you can add it, right? You need to gather these numbers, and this considering factor, or maybe the assumptions, the data which is backing to define the prioritization will help a lot, and that might require some time to gather that data. It's not easy sometimes. So I can give you some example. I was building one product, and I asked the numbers to the operations head, and the operations said, no, we don't have numbers and all. Uh, I said, if you don't know the numbers, that how many documents you upload, it means it's not painful. So we deprioritize your team, we put at the last as part of the migration. This was my statement, and immediately next 1 hour, I got all the numbers, all the department from the operations team, that okay, it's a painful journey. They even given me the calculation that how much time they're spending to save as. When they get document, they have to search and save as. It will take like 30 seconds, for example. So that helped me to do calculations. So sometimes you need to use such a technique that when you're not getting the numbers, and getting numbers is also another challenging part. I think I should sure what is easy, not challenging, but as part of the product, it's a challenging, because you are actually a glue between the business and IT, and a lot of responsibility on your shoulder as a product owner. And getting that number is not easy, but there are techniques the way I given to you. Can use those techniques to get the numbers, and those numbers can back your prioritization techniques, and you can answer why this was not prioritized and why this was prioritized, for example. So okay, so that's it for today. We'll look forward for another session next week. And if you can want to, connect with me on LinkedIn. If you are very shy to ask question, you can connect me on LinkedIn also and ask the question, no problem. Okay, or you can reach out to Nadir and Hamid also. Of course, you have that email addresses. We are always open and vocal to share whatever you want it. Okay, so there's no transaction for that, so don't worry. You can ask it. This is all for the community and for the BA and the product owners in Malaysia. Okay, thank you everyone. Have a good day.
Right. Thank you, Makran, for the presentation
Yeah.
today. And thank you for all our attendees. Hopefully you found this session valuable. And just to let you know as well, after this session, we'll be sending out the slides, Rohan. I know you asked this question last week. We had a discussion.
Thank
and
you.
we have decided to share the slides as well. Yeah. And we'll be sharing the slides, and we'll upload the recorded session on the website as well. Please feel free to share with as many friends as you can. And as I mentioned just earlier, so we are the local training provider here, registered with HRD Corp, and we provide fully claimable training courses, like obviously related to ITBA product owners as well. And if you would like to know more about what kind of customized training courses that we can offer your team, please feel free to get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to discuss it with you, how we can help, how we can add value. If not, then hopefully see you on the next session as well. Thank you so much again for joining today's session.
Thank you, everyone, again.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.